Happy fall equinox, everybody. It is a beautiful day to be out in the garden. The chickens are being quite vocal at the moment. They're either laying eggs or looking for a place to lay an egg. She's still back there laying on her eggs. Sorry to disturb you, lady. I know. I wanted to show you really quick how healthy the greens are looking right now. The weather started to cool down a bit. This here is the abundant tree kale. And I've been growing this now for a few years. Now, this plant has smaller, narrower leaves. Very similar though to the dino kale. And you could really see the purple tree collard within its parentage as well. I'm getting yet another beautiful fruit set of goji berries. This has been a very productive year for goji berries. They are just everywhere. Really nice sized fruit. Most of my Jerusalem artichoke plants have already fizzled out for the year, but over here I've got an abundant little patch going. A lot of flowers still. It's kind of interesting. This area over here gets a lot more shade than the other plants, and I'm pretty sure, I won't know till I harvest, but I think that this was the purple variety of Jerusalem artichokes. The pomegranates are getting close. I ended up with not as heavy of a fruit set as I had expected. We had a lot of flowering earlier in the season. Things were looking very promising. And the flowers dropped at some point, and we didn't end up with all too many fruits on this tree. This is another tree right next door. This is the wonderful variety. And something's been pecking into there, but these pomegranate seeds are just going to be just fine. I'm going to harvest this one now. Here, hon.
Nice. What happened?
I don't know, something got to it.
Oh my god.
It's still good though. Now I know where it got its name. Over here we've got another wonderful variety of pomegranate, and this is the first year it's putting on a fruit set. Looking really good. Fig production on this Peter's honey fig has finally started to slow. We got an amazing harvest this year of figs. I'm guessing somewhere around 45 pounds or so. Unfortunately, the Jujube Trees decided to not provide us with any fruit this year. Not quite sure what happened. We had a great set of flowers developed on both of these trees, and we had some small fruit starting to form. And out of nowhere, they dropped the fruit. Both of these Jujube trees also sent out runners about 5 feet or so, and pulled those out, but something to be aware of. It is prone to doing that. Beneath this mass of greenery over here is a garden arbor. We're still getting some good tomatoes on the left side. On the right, we planted a chayote squash. It's really taken off. Unfortunately, there's no squash to speak of, but the tips of the plant, including the tendrils, are extremely delicious. Tastes like a green bean. Great for stir fries. We've been munching on these. I'm going to also be whipping up a dish and post it over at Plant-Based Eats, so stay tuned for that. I've been stirring up my biochar slurry every couple days. This is getting close to being done now. The compost in place video that I made the other day has really done a great job helping these young Ashitaba plants to start to re-emerge and take over the plot. Things are looking really good over in this area. I'm not sure if I had mentioned this in a previous video, but I had a hybridized pumpkin and squash vine that was growing over this hugelkultur, and at some point the leaves of that plant started to not look so healthy, as it had started to develop some powdery mildew. So what I did is I just covered the entire vine with a fresh layer of wood chips, and it started to re-emerge and push out some new growth. Now you can see how healthy the leaves look. There's some fresh flowers there, young fruits. Not going to fully mature, but the blossoms are edible. Over here is where I had that cousin of the artichoke, the large Cardoon plant growing, and I chopped it back once it was pretty much at the end of its cycle. Now you can see we've got 1, 2, and 3 pups growing in the same location. I'll probably leave 1 here and transfer 2 away. But this plant overwintered just fine last year. Provides a nice showy ornamental look to the garden through the dead of winter. Still getting lots of bell peppers. Longevity spinach is doing great. Here's some purple jalapenos, my favorite jalapeno pepper to grow. The Asian pears are getting close to harvest time. You can see one of the chayote vines has crawled up to the top of the pear tree. This is the path between the 2 hugelkultur mounds. Still can get through, but could use a chop and drop. Check out this patch of longevity spinach growing on the hugelkultur. Earlier this season, this is literally a stump right here. This is some comfrey that I chopped and dropped, but I just mounded up about 1.5 feet of soil, topped it with wood chips over the log, and that was enough to provide this longevity spinach with some habitat. It's looking great. Earlier this year, I took a bunch of cuttings from my lavender plants and started to root them in these pots, and a couple different things happened. I still got a couple survivors, but a couple different factors caused me to lose most of the cuttings. First off, as you can see, there's some digging in this pot. For whatever reason, these pots keep getting attacked by, I think, squirrels. You can see all the twigs in there. I also put these out into full sun a little bit too early, which dried some of the other cuttings out. But like I said, we still got 2 survivors here looking healthy. So I'm happy. I mean, a 5-gallon pot like this from your local nursery is going to run you $18 to $20 for a lavender plant. So still well worth my effort, and hopefully we'll have even more success next year. Really love the lavender plant. Drought tolerant, natural pest control in the garden, evergreen, puts off beautiful flowers that have many different uses. Those bananas haven't grown at all over the last month. So I'm going to harvest this flower. We're going to try to cook with it, even though it's so small. And I'm going to cut it off just below the last bunch of bananas over here. So we'll see if these bananas start to grow now. They're really small. There's still a whole lot of production taking place back here. I haven't hardly watered at all over the last couple weeks as the temperatures have died down. Well, that's going to do it for now, everybody. I'm going to wrap up this episode. Just wanted to check in with you, share with you some of the growings on this fall equinox. Hope you all have a great weekend. I'll be talking to you again real soon. Take care.